Good morning, everybody. I always forget to turn off the mute button on these lives. Good morning. It is Friday. I'm running a little bit late this morning, but that's all good because I'm really just here for you. We're just going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff this morning. And for those of you that are just joining me for the first time, I am Matt Stagliano, and I am Generator Podcast. So it's just me. If you send me a message, you're going to get me. That's what it comes down to. All right. So good morning. It is Friday. It's been a weird week. It's been a hell of a week, I got to say. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So coming off of Wednesday night, right? We did a great conversation on Wednesday night. We talked all about how to build community. We talked about why creator advice is generally wrong most of the time because it's so watered down and regurgitated from something a few smart people said, but the rest of it wasn't, lived experience. So there's not a lot of depth behind it. So it was a big episode about, kind of buyer beware when you're out there and you're learning from coaches or online creators, or you're watching people and you're feeling like you're not enough. Definitely go back and watch that episode. I put a couple of snippets up so far, but one of the things that I like to do is let an episode simmer for a couple of days, let me work through it, find the most impressive points, if there are any impressive points in it whatsoever, and then put those out for you. So one of the things that I've been facing in doing this podcast thing has been just the sheer volume of content that you can create when you're doing long form videos like this. So for example, I'll probably talk here this morning for, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. And there might be a handful of segments that we talk about, and I can cut those up and then release those as Instagram shorts or reels or, whatever it is, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels. I haven't even had my coffee yet, so don't start at me this morning, okay? So the sheer volume of content that you can produce from a long form piece is staggering. And then its distribution to all the different platforms, right? We're trying to grow this thing. And quite frankly, it becomes a little bit exhausting. But first, before we get into too much, we're gonna have a little bit of coffee. And you know what? I'm gonna have my buddy Paul join me. Oh, look at this. This is really strange. So again, working through the bugs in dual mode of Ecamm, right? Because it's just a beta. We're going to try this again. We're going to pretend that this goes smooth. Ready? Hey, Paul. Coffee. See, this is the bug. This is the bug that we're having, is that we're going to try this again. Want to try it again? It keeps going over to the other stream and then not staying on screen long enough. So who knows? We might have to fight that all morning with the comments. No idea why it's doing what it's doing, but it is what it is. So cheers, Paul. Here's to you, my friend. Good morning. Let's see who else is showing up. I think Crystal's here. And Crystal, good morning, my friend. It's good to see you here. It's good to see you here. It truly is. And I wanted to talk this morning while I drink my mushroom coffee. So truth be told, I was out a couple days ago and I went over to North Conway, New Hampshire. So I'm over to North Conway, trying to do the Bed Bath & Beyond Home Depot. Didn't know if we were going to be able to fit it in all in one day. And I went out there and I was looking for some stuff. I was going to REI and I was going to Eddie Bauer, and I was trying to get a couple of new pieces. And of course, I had to stop into Home Goods, and in Home Goods, they have all sorts of stuff. But the thing that I love about Home Goods is not like the weird giraffe chairs and things like that. It's their little food section, because there's always, if you dig hard enough, there's always good coffee or good coffee substitutes in there for relatively cheap prices. And I always like to experiment and try new things. And I found this coffee blend, and I should have brought it up with me this morning, but I didn't. It's lion's mane and cordyceps mushroom espresso coffee. I know, right? So The gray matter between the ears isn't getting any younger, and it's becoming a little bit softer and more like oatmeal every day. So I'm doing everything that I can to keep it functioning. And I'm a big believer in mushrooms. I'm a big believer in their power, both medicinally and psychedelically. But what I really like is the fact that this is sweet enough because it's got some aspartame in it, but it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. It tastes just like espresso. It's almost like instant coffee, right? Because I'm sure they're using some level of instant espresso in it, but it tastes really good. It keeps my head clear. It doesn't give me the bitter stomach that I get from regular coffee because I drink a lot of coffee. So yeah, I'm enjoying that this morning. All right, let's see some of the other things that Paul has to say. Yeah, live happens. Okay, for some reason now the comments are coming in exactly where they should. Let's see, front side coffee. No, front side coffee. I don't know front side coffee. We'll have to talk about that at some point. We'll talk about that this week when you come up. So I did have a couple of topics that I wanted to talk to you about this morning. So we are gonna wrap up the week a little bit, and then I'm gonna dive into the numbers behind all of this, right? And the reason I want to dive into the numbers is because everybody thinks in some way, shape, or form, everybody thinks that doing this brings you all sorts of money and fame and just wealth and numbers and adulation, and there's just statues in the streets. Whenever you start a podcast, this is what happens, right? Is you get all of this fame. That ain't the case. I'm here to tell you. So I want to demystify anything about me because I don't feel like a lot of people online are honest enough. And quite honestly, with this focus on vanity metrics, how many followers do you have? What's your engagement rate? All of them. While they are important to some degree, they're not nearly as important as people think. Not anymore, right? It used to be. There used to be this real race to chase clout and get as many numbers as you can, get as many followers or get as many views as you can. And while that's still the game, it's not the intention. Right? So if you are playing the game where you want to be famous on YouTube and make a whole bunch of money and get all the views and work your butt off and create things that will succeed or fail, all that's fine. Just know that the road to getting to real money rarely comes through just views and numbers. Where the money comes from is from connection. And these days it's brand deals. So being able to talk, and not so much sponsors, but I've got these DJI mics here, right? So maybe I make a video about how much I love these DJI mics and how I can take a DJI mic just like this and put it on, right? We're going to move the microphone out of the way for a second. I'm going to mute you. Watch this. And now I am talking through the DJI mic. It's probably a little bit lower. I haven't set anything up, but it's all coming through my Rodecaster, and I'm playing with it a little bit. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this microphone, but I just wanted to show you I could be making a video like this and talking about anything. And perhaps, yeah, there was no audio there if you were watching. I was trying to do something cool and be cool. Wasn't that cool. Again, not enough coffee. So essentially what I was saying was if I take these mics and I run them through my Rodecaster and I use that as my mic and I put that out as, a video, perhaps DJI picks that up and they say, hey, Matt, we really like the way that you wear jean jackets every day and we like the message that you have and we want to work with you. That's how money gets made. So if you saw me in the last minute or half have no audio, that's all this is I was just experimenting with trying to get, because I have an old school Rodecaster, I was trying to get the DJI mics through. Not important. All I'm getting at is money is not in numbers or traditional sponsorships. It's in brand deals. And the only way that you can get brand deals is by doing the thing that you want to do. Just do the thing that you want to do. Put it out there with intention and honesty and truth and a little bit of joy. Show your passion for what you do. And the right brands will align themselves to you, right? It might not be what it looks like for you, right? It might not be what you think it's going to be. It might not be money or straight sponsorships, but it's great networking. It's great for people to understand who you are, what you stand for, and what it is that you put out, because there might be something that they need from you in the future. So a lot of what I do here is not chasing that money, because I don't believe that that makes a better product for me. I'm going to check in on the comments. We're going to do this a little informally this morning. So yeah, Paul, there was a little bit of low audio. I'm still cool. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. And you need to do some of this. Yeah, you need to get on and do some lives, dude. I'm telling you. Matt, I appreciate you. I'm glad you are here. You know, the old school Rodecaster, it still works. It still lights up, man. And I'm here for it. I'm going to use it as much as I can. But that being said, there are some things that are not as good. There it goes. My Stream Deck's chunking out. There's weird stuff happening this morning with my computer. But yeah, I still use this old Rodecaster. It's the first one that I got, probably 5 or 6 years old now anyway. And it's starting to freak out. And it doesn't have as many bells and whistles as the newer Rodecaster Duos or the Videocaster, which I'm also looking at, but it still works. So I'm going to ride this thing off into the sunset, and I'm glad that you're here with me, Matt. We're going to try some more comments. I need to switch some things around on the old Stream Deck. Carolyn, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really appreciating all the people showing up, doing a little bit of love. This is exactly what I'm here for. Judith, good morning. Man, this makes my cold heart warm. All right, back to the thing. So a couple of things that have been going on. I'm going to cover off real quick of what happened this week. So I rolled into this week basically saying, I'm going to put out this 30 days of better interviewing skills, right? So you're seeing it on YouTube and Instagram. And I go into YouTube and I program everything out because I don't want to have to put something up every single day. So I go into YouTube and I program things out. And then I try to do the same thing in Meta Business Suite and I get all 30 days programmed out. And what happens? It crashes. It goes off the rails. I lose my mind, get really pissed off because I wasted several hours doing it. Go back, reprogram everything again, same thing's happening. So the 30 days of better interviewing skills is absolutely happening in succession on YouTube. On Instagram, it might be a little herky-jerky because the Meta Business Suite decides, I don't want to post something for you right now, even though you scheduled it, even though I said it was getting ready to go. I don't think I'm going to do it. So whatever Zuckerberg and the crew is doing over there, it's not working. And this is the reason that I get so frustrated with social media is that you try to do something simple and it just doesn't come out the way you want. So it is what it is. You know, we're getting back to the Rodecaster piece. The Rodecaster Pro 2 seems like I'm due for an upgrade. I'm in the same boat with you, Matt, where I love my technology, but it's just starting to run its course. I need to upgrade a whole bunch of things. I mean, it took me a while to upgrade the pictures behind me, right? I had a poster there before, and I just started going through all my different records, and I wanted to put some records on the wall. So I'm trying to do all these little upgrades here and there, and, you know, you get to it when you get to it. All right. Let's see a couple more comments. I love people just coming in here. Maybe I'll just leave the comment screen up and talk to you like this. And as people come in, they just come through. Whitney is here. Whitney is on the cover of the Professional Photographers Association of America magazine. Whitney, for someone we had this conversation, for someone that says, "Oh, I'm just kind of a photographer on the side," you're crushing it. And it's amazing to watch. I love the work that you do. I love your approach to it. And I love how you are just doing it for you. That makes my everything feel good because you're just doing amazing things. I love seeing that, Whitney. I just lost access to my pages in MetaSuite. Yeah, I mean, I'm so against Facebook and Instagram at the moment. I only keep it because that's where most of the audience lives. But if I could go without it, which I plan to in the future, man, oh man, oh man, what a day that will be where I don't have to worry about Facebook or Instagram. Matt saying, I have 19 Amazon videos to make this weekend. Dude, you should see the pile of stuff that I have ready to go this weekend, but it's probably not even going to get to this weekend. Every time a weekend comes by, I go to make more videos, and it just never happens. I need to get, oh, stop it, Whitney. You're not blushing. You know how good you are. You know how good you are. All right. Let's get back to the week wrap up. So, yes, had all these trouble with the 30 days of better interviewing skills, but they're going to come out every day. If I have to do it manually, I'll do it manually. Just cut me a little bit of slack if it's not coming out at the same time every day, right? I know you guys aren't clamoring saying, what's he going to say next? But, just saying. I don't want anybody shaking their finger saying, he said he was going to do 30 days and he didn't do 30 days. I'm doing 30 days. Just hang out, okay? All right, so that happened. And then I did my show Wednesday night, which was fantastic. Yesterday, after watching the show Wednesday night, there were some issues with my light, and I didn't really like it, and I wanted to hang up the pictures, and I had to adjust the light so that I wasn't get as many reflections in the pictures in the back there. And so yesterday, I was sitting here with a fresh 32 ounces of mushroom coffee, and it was sitting right here. And by right here, I mean, it was sitting right here, right? So I have this big strip light up here. You can see everything. This is my overall desk area. And what happened, so I'm trying to adjust the light, which is a big Amaran 200 in a 4-foot strip box with a grid. And it's hung by some super clamps up in my ceiling area. And I go to fix it. And I'm standing on a stool right behind the camera that I'm looking at you on right now. And I'm trying to take it down, and there's that guy on your shoulder, and he's going, dude, just relax. Don't try to do everything. Take it apart, fix it correctly, and then put it back. And over here is old school Matt, which is just like, fuck it, you got it. Let's do this. Full Leroy Jenkins. Let's just send it. And what happens? I know you know what happens. Light falls, laptop falls over, knocks the coffee over, spills all over the desk, all over my journal, all over my notes, all over my computer, all over my hubs, keyboards, mouse, clothing, rug, desk, everything absolutely covered in coffee. Now, here's the best part. So I then look around, and I always have like some type of paper towel or something sitting around, napkin from lunch or whatnot. And all of a sudden, there's nothing around. So now I go downstairs and I grab my towel off the back of the bathroom door, and now I'm wiping up all the coffee. It was an absolute mess. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm supposed to be on a Zoom call. So I don't know, since like yesterday morning, things have been on a weird decline. So if the moon is in Gatorade or Mercury's, in therapy, like I don't know what's happening, but the week has not been ending well. So I really wanted to end the week well by talking to you. So that was the story. That's kind of how things have gone. It's been a lot, I got to tell you. So let's just see, is anybody else in here? Bassam, my friend, old Artist Forge colleague. Bassam, thank you. I appreciate you watching the lives from Wednesday. And this is the reason that I do it live, so that if you happen to catch it live, awesome. If you watch it afterwards, right? That's the whole point of YouTube, is that I can do things live and then you can watch the stream afterwards. we're going to get into the numbers. I promise. It's only 9:32. I was waiting for people to come on in here. Leroy Jenkins, one of my favorite internet things ever is Leroy Jenkins. And yes, Angela, everything was covered in coffee. Everything. See, Bassam, you should show up more often. Everybody loves saying hello to you. Bassam, we got to bring you on at some point. Okay. Stop talking that. So, back to the original point. Original point was I want to bring you inside on all of these numbers. I've set up the new website, right? Because I wanted people to find a hub where they can get the episodes, right? You don't have to subscribe to Apple or Spotify if you don't want to. Keep out of another subscription. But go ahead to the website. All the latest episodes will always be there. All the videos will almost always be in the show notes for each one of the episodes. I'll put featured episodes up on the front page. And then also, while I put up last night some mailing list stuff, if you want to just get in on the mailing list there, or if you want to download your free podcast prep guide, you can go there as well. And I mean, yeah, you're going to get emails from me, but right now everything's free and nothing's programmed, so you're not going to get spammed with anything because I haven't finished setting it all up yet. But you are going to get whatever it is that you sign up for. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. So I do this, and while we're looking at the website, I am going to do a couple things here, and I'm going to get rid of this scene like this. And we are going to bring in a couple of other overlays. So let's do it this way. We'll do a screen share. And we'll do a screen share of Google Chrome. This way, I can make it relatively large. Okay, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to see here, but I'll talk you through everything that I'm looking at. Okay, so I wanted to bring up a couple of things here. So we're looking at my YouTube page, and I wanted to show you just the last 30 days. And you can see this little diagram here. If you can't see what I'm looking at, basically, in the last 30 days, I've had 4,000 some odd views. I put up 35 videos in the last 30 days. Lifetime, I've got 114. So a third of my videos, basically a third of my videos, a quarter of my videos, have come in the last 30 days. I am trying to produce as much as possible. Now, if you look at my overall standings, I've got almost 27,000 views on some of these videos. That comes primarily from a handful of videos that did really well. So this photography game is rigged video that I put up. Episode 55, right? It's the ugly side of the photo industry, where I talk about how people get wrapped up in these vanity metrics and they get wrapped up in numbers, and how sponsors only focus on numbers when they're trying to find new talent in the art world. And I just think that's a terrible, old school, awful practice. I think it's lazy, and I think it shows that brands are not working with smaller influencers the way that they could, right? When there's just a focus on numbers. The thing about that video was that was one of the first videos that I put on this channel when I separated it out from StoneTree. So I don't know if the algorithm pumped it up more, or if the thumbnail just worked, or it showed up at the right place at the right time. But that has 19,000 of those, whatever it is, 25,000 views, right? So 27,000 views. So 19 or 20,000 of that comes from that one video, right? The rest of my videos are not getting huge numbers, but they're there and they do show growth all the time. So I'm going to show subscribers in the last 30 days. I've got 22 new subscribers. You can see I'm relatively inconsistent, meaning I'm putting out a video every couple of days, but there are these spikes in how I'm putting the videos out. Let's look at a couple more analytics, and I'm going to use TubeBuddy for this. If I were to look at the channel insights, now I've got TubeBuddy here, and I've just started using this. I'm just learning about YouTube. I mean, I'm still learning about YouTube analytics and how it's really run as a business. So I created a niche with a bunch of similar followers in my world: creativity, right? Live content, live streamers, photography, content creation, all that, right? And so I have about 12 or 13 different channels that I use as comparison. It's not because I'm competing with them. It's just general comparison. Here's a similar size or where I want to go to as a creator, but I'm not comparing myself to Mr. Beast or people with millions and millions of followers. I'm not doing that because that just gets in my head. So smaller creators. And the cool thing about this is that based on, the last 30 days or so, that I'm outperforming the majority of the niche, not necessarily any individual performer. It's just all of the channels that I chose to follow and kind of compare myself against I'm outperforming. That's a good thing. Do I expect it to last? No, right? Because this is just a snapshot of a moment in time. So I'm not expecting that I'm going to have these incredible rates and I'm the person that's doing it right. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is there are certain videos that get uploaded, right? The DJI mic comparison that I did with the SmallRig S70, that came out, 21 days ago. It's only got 483 views, right? Views are not what I'm after. What I'm after is putting out information that I think you might benefit from, whether it's taking the mask off of something or teaching you something new, right? I hope you find a little bit of that entertaining, but I want to show you what's going on behind all of this. So if I look at the niche, right, who I'm comparing myself against, I'm not comparing and I'm not competing with any of these people, but in my world, these are the folks that I respect, that I'd love to emulate, that I look at and I say, wow, they're doing it right. I want to do things similarly to them, but in my own voice. You've got live streaming pros and of course, Ecamm Live, a bunch of the Ecamm family: Mary Lou Mandel, Doc Rock, Brandon Washington, Marianne Cresp. But, there's also the Portrait System and Ben Markham, Kirk Nugent. There's just a bunch. I even put Stone Tree down here too, to compare myself and see. I don't do much on the Stone Tree side, but on the generator side, I want to see where it all ranks. I'm doing better than some, not as good as others, but I also have not been doing this as long as a lot of these people. And I'm approaching it in a different way as I still get my bearings on all this. I say this to tell you that just take it at your own pace. Do what you can do. Have benchmarks out there that you can compare yourself against, but don't get caught up in the numbers. So on the YouTube side, given that I've got 461 subscribers and 115 videos, 27,000 some odd views, I feel really good about that. I'm not able to monetize a thing on YouTube yet. I get $0, 0 pennies from YouTube because I still don't have enough followers, enough watched hours. I think if I were to look at all of that, I know I need to get to at least 1,000 followers. I know I need X amount of watch hours, whether it's 4,000 or 1,000 or 10,000, right? So many views. All I'm trying to do is put out enough content to get past that hump so that maybe I can start looking at talking to brands about a few more different things. I don't look at YouTube as saying, I'm going to make all my money here on views. They're changing the game too much where you have to have just every video's got to hit bang, bang, bang for you to be making any real income. Are you going to make some maybe money? Absolutely. But is it something that you can pay your mortgage with? Not unless you happen to go viral, get a lot of views on every video, and you go from there. Now, I've got friends like my friend Paulina, who's on Shtuka, Shtooka, Shtuka Atelier. Wonderfully dry, incredible sense of humor. She's on TikTok, Instagram, and she made a video not too long ago, and she was struggling like the rest of us, a handful of views here, a handful of views there. And she made one video where she had these sunglasses and they had tassels on them, and it went viral like overnight. Thousands and thousands of views. And the great part is, it couldn't happen to a better person. But the great part is, a lot of times those are flash in the pan. Like they just happen for random reasons. They're lightning strikes. But people are coming back, and now she's able to communicate with a much wider audience. And the interesting thing is going to be is, do people want to see more of that content? Did they like her? Obviously, she's telling stories already about how there are creepy people in her comments immediately because it's the internet. But it just goes to show you that as long as you're just putting the stuff out that you want to put out, it will find its audience. And I couldn't be happier for Paulina. I hope she sees a ton of success from this, because she's the perfect person for the internet to know. I believe in her 100%. All right. So I'm going to switch over now to Captivate. So Captivate is the platform that I use to distribute the podcast on a weekly basis. This is what sends the audio file, and I'll show you the back end of how I do an episode, but it sends the audio file out to Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, right? All the podcast platforms, all from one central hub. The good thing about that is I can centralize my analytics and really look at what's performing and what's not. So I use this in my media kit and my sponsor kit for Generator. So when you look at my media kit, it's got all the stuff, all the flowery stuff about what I believe a Generator is and the audience that it has and the demographics, but also all of the numbers, right? Because if sponsors are only going to look at numbers, I'm going to give you the numbers. I don't care. What I want you to do is believe in what I'm saying and believe in the show. The numbers are numbers. If I have a high engagement rate, that's going to be better for your brand than if I have huge numbers and a terrible engagement rate. It means that people aren't really listening or watching. Engagement rate, sales rate, right? If you can prove that your audience is buying things from you or from other people, that's what should really matter. But people forget about that. But who am I? I'm just a guy in a jean jacket in Maine, right? So if I look at the episodes that I've put out 70 actual episodes to date for Generator. Now, this goes back a couple of years, right? If I go all the way back, when was episode 1? Was that 2000? Episode 1 was 2022. So May of 2022. So we're coming up on 3 years. But you can see I only did 2 episodes in 2022. I did more in 2023 when I started to take it a little bit more seriously, and I started interviewing much, more prominent guests. And if I were to look at, I'm just kind of going back in time, right? There is a lot more in 2023, but you see things, I have gaps like from June to October where I didn't do anything, from April to June where I didn't do anything. And this is what I refer to as my seasons, where I'll do a lot of work week after week after week after week. And then I not burn out, but I'm like, I need a little bit of a break. I take a couple months off and I rework some things, and then I get back into it. So if I go all the way back to the beginning, right? And I look at, just from May of this year, I was good in May and June, put out a bunch of episodes in July. August, I put out 1 episode. September was 2 episodes. October was 3. November was 3. December was 2. And now I've got 1 in January, 1 in February. All of that to say, while I'm still going live very often, I'm doing a lot here on YouTube, I'm not putting out as many fully produced end-to-end episodes of the podcast. And that's a problem because I need to be producing consistently if I want to see growth in the audio version of the platform. I've been so focused on video that, oh God, audio just kind of became a secondary aspect. As well, I have not been inviting as many guests on as I used to, mainly because super busy, pulled in a bunch of different directions. I've had scheduling conflicts. People will say, yeah, I can do it on Wednesday night. And then, Wednesday afternoon, they're saying, hey, I can't make it. Can we do it another time? Yep, not a problem. We're not curing cancer here. We're doing a podcast. So things happen. Going from a pre-recorded format where I was able to schedule at random times during the week to now doing a live format, that also locks things down. So doing a podcast at 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights, not everybody's available then, not only to listen, but to be a guest. So the coordination I'm finding has been a little bit more difficult to do the 7 p.m. on Wednesday podcast, the live show, and have people show up the same way that they did when I was doing the pre-recorded episodes. So I'm still working on the cadence of that and what works and what doesn't, and experimenting with times to go live, right? This might be my last 9 a.m. on Friday. I might switch to a 10 a.m. on Friday. Who knows? I want to understand where people are listening, how long they're staying for, when they're taking off, so I can better craft when I need to show up for you. That's it, right? And if you're digging the Friday morning thing, that's cool. Taking a sip. All right. So if you want me to dig into this, if you're digging the information that I'm putting out there, just drop in the chat. Just say yes, something, move on, whatever it is that you want to see. If you have a specific question about any analytics or any numbers or any topic related to kind of the analytical side of growth and podcast and numbers and YouTube, let me know and we can dig through this all together. I'm going to see if there's anything in the comments right now. Got a couple more people coming in. Nikki is, wow, look at that. Nikki's in Portugal right now. She's digging in. She's on the retreat. God, I don't know if you're still over there, Nikki, with Shannon and Rusty and just an incredible group of people, Rick and Kayla. I hope you all are having a great time. It looks like you really are. Michelle, good morning, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. Not sure if you're going to be out at WPPI, but I hope I see you out there. And then, hey, Bassam is saying hi to Carolyn as well. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get back to where we were a moment ago with the Captivate numbers. Now, I'm just going to go in and show you some of the analytics. Let me see if I can make this a little bit wider and show you a little bit more of what's on the screen here. Let me move this over, move this over, give you a better look at some of the numbers. Okay, so if I were to pull up my analytics for Generator, now we are going to look at the last 12 months. And you can see what I was talking about. As I'm more consistent, you see the great growth, right? 675 downloads in May. In June, I had 248. But remember, I only did, I believe, one episode in June. July, I put a couple episodes out, one in August. October was heavier, November was heavier, but you can see I dropped off as we got closer to the holidays, just not putting out as many episodes, focusing more in this area after October. So October is when I went to Creator Camp. And since then, this has nothing to do with Creator Camp, by the way, but since October, I refocused everything. And I really changed a lot of my process. I changed my focus. I changed my intentions around a lot of what I was doing. And it became less about perfect perfect episodes and perfect videos and just perfection week in and week out. And it became more about organic growth, honesty, truth, coming to you, opening the kimono, showing you everything about what I'm trying to do to grow this. Because I'd rather you see this from the beginning than to make any assumptions on your own about what is happening in my world, what the numbers are, how successful or how unsuccessful I am. I'm going to put it all out there. This is kind of like I'm taking the Eminem approach to 8 Mile, which is I'm going to say everything that you could say possibly against me first, and then what do you have to say after that? That's kind of where I'm going with this. That's the intention behind this, is just to basically say, no, I don't think I'm a huge podcaster, but the reasons I'm doing it are probably different from yours. I want to help people, and I'm going to show them everything that I'm doing, and hopefully we'll find something that works. Maybe people will give me good information about what works for them and what doesn't, but this is me doing it. You want to see the real world of podcasting? This is it. So I put out the episode that I did with Nino, right? If we look at, again, the episodes that I was putting out, this episode with Nino, which was the AI retouching. This was last week's episode. It wasn't this week. It was last week's episode. If I look at that, that's really been the only thing that I've put out so far this month. There's been 125 downloads of that. If I change and I look at the engagement and I say, okay, for the last month, right? You can see right up here, this is where that episode with Nino came in. Back here, there was, that was the last episode. That was episode 69. So anytime that I'm putting out an episode, you see the spikes, right? All of this in between is what I want to fill in. People are listening on Apple and Spotify predominantly. That's making up almost 80% of the listeners is Apple and Spotify. And then the Safari, Chrome, and all these others. Most of them are coming through mobile, and most of them are coming through Apple. Another, again, 87 to 90% on Macs or phones or whatnot. And predominantly US based. There is a handful of European, Australian, even India, there's a handful of downloads, 1 or 2 per month, but everything is US based, which makes sense, right? My audience is here in the US and Canada. So the audience themselves, today I've had 1 download. Usually I'm getting 4 to 5 downloads a day. When I release a new episode, I get much more per week. So usually I'm getting 54, 75. You got to understand, I've been doing this for 3 years. So these averages kind of go up and down. This is why I like to look at 12 months, because it's bringing in all of my episodes and accounts for all of my ups and downs, right? I can look at 1 month particularly and be like, I did fantastic. What I'm really trying to look at are trends. And everything that this shows me is anytime that I'm putting stuff out consistently, the audience grows, right? My numbers grow. They're better for showing off. But when I'm not doing anything, those numbers plummet. Why? Because there's no content to put out. Now, I don't have a large enough following at this point that people are clamoring for old episodes. But I'm building the body of work. So every couple of months, you see a spike. My goal now is to fall into a rhythm where the consistency really starts to take over. You can see it happening on YouTube. I showed you before, if we looked at YouTube, there's a lot more spikes because I'm putting out a lot more content. What I'm not doing is converting a lot of those videos to audio content and putting it out on the audio platforms alone. So when I have a conversation with someone, I'd like to have the conversation live on Wednesday. That goes to YouTube. That then gets broken down into multiple shorts that you'll see on Reels for Instagram and Facebook. You'll see them as shorts or even, mid-length content on YouTube. And then I'd also like to take the long episode, convert it just to audio, and then put that out through Captivate. So I'm putting all of this content out there in multiple different ways. And I could look at this and I say, well, God, well, I'm only getting 8 downloads on the actual podcast. But if I go back and I look at the video that I did with Nino, and that was this one here, that's got 30 views in horizontal form. It's got 51 views in vertical form. So there's another 80 downloads, if you will, that are just on YouTube. So when I'm looking at my numbers, I haven't done a really good job of aggregating everything together to say, okay, episode X got this on YouTube, this on Spotify, this on Apple, this on Instagram. I'm putting a lot of the same episodes out on multiple channels, but I'm not aggregating all the data. I'm sure that if I aggregated the data, that I'd have bigger, more impressive numbers to show, right? Because, they'd just be higher in all aspects if I just called them views or watches or listens or whatever. But that doesn't really drive me. It helps, but it's not why I'm here. I always look at this stuff as saying, I know y'all are busy. You catch it when you can catch it. I'm just going to keep putting it out there. I'm going to keep making product. I'm going to keep putting it out. Eventually, if you find yourself on vacation, you're like, you know what? I don't want to be here at the beach. I don't want to spend great time with my family. I want to go back to the hotel room and do nothing but listen to Generator episodes. Believe me, that's a worthy vacation. I totally agree with that. But then you'd have a whole body of work to listen to, right? A whole bunch of different stuff. Another thing that happened in the past 6 months or so that I've really been playing with is solo episodes, right? So I do a lot of interviews with a lot of people, but I was also putting out a lot of individual episodes. So after Angela, who's here, hi Angela, after Angela's episode in November of last year, I started putting out a lot of individual, shorter form, longer form content, right, about podcast saving photography or using brain science, my systems, my live show preview, what I was going to do in 2026, my predictions, right? So I went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different episodes of just solo content, experimenting, playing, seeing what resonated with people. A lot of them were not good. Like in terms of numbers, they were not good. Why? Because I changed the format of what I was giving you. People were used to one thing, and then I gave them something different. So if you're showing up every week to hear an interview with an interesting person, and all you get is me, then I can see why people wouldn't listen as much. Regardless of how brilliant and talented my points might be, they fall flat, right? And that's okay, because I wanted to see, there's a big drop-off because I wasn't doing the interviews. So give the people what they want. I don't consider that wasted time, and I don't consider them bad episodes. What I do is consider them research and trying to understand as I work my way through all of this, figuring out what is resonating, right? If I want to make this last for the next 5, 10, 15 years, I got to start understanding what the foundation is made of. And I'm not even at the foundation yet. I'm still looking at the soil going, can I build here or not? And all I'm trying to do is say, all right, I know I can build here. I've cleared the land. Let me lay the foundation. Let me lay that concrete pad down and then really start building. And that's the approach that I'm taking to a lot of this, is saying, all right, the last couple of years, while this was a hobby, for me, was understanding how to do this thing, how to show up and not give a shit if people are watching and still talking, showing up and just figuring things out on the fly. And I like that because now that I feel like I have a lot of this foundation and I have a lot of the knowledge and the wisdom about how all this stuff works, I can start strategically going after it. And my episode the other night was about, I'm trying to take as many webinars and attend as many classes and learn from as many creators while still trying to keep the photography business going and still trying to create here and still trying to have some level of harmony with the rest of my life. I'm doing it so that I can build. There's no lack of energy, but it can be frustrating, it can be demoralizing when you see things that you try and they don't hit. But that's all part of this, right? You have to look at some of those things as that needed to happen for me to learn this lesson. And it's a, very kind of cliche meta universe approach to it all. But I truly believe this. If you're not putting in the reps, you're not going to get any stronger at the gym. If you're not showing up consistently, you're not going to get better at doing any of this. If you can't work through the times where no one's listening or you see shitty numbers, you're not going to last. So you've got to build not only the reps to get better at this, but a little bit of a thicker skin as you start to develop the content that you want. My intention behind this is to help you guys understand what this is all about. My intention behind this is to help you grow alongside me, right? The more we can do this together, the more insight we can share. I'm just a big believer in showing you everything that's happening. I don't want there to be any misconceptions. All I see in the creative world are perceptions about how people are. Oh, Peter McKinnon must be this way because he's got this many views. Or, Tom Buck has it all figured out because he does a perfect show all the time. And I love Tom. This is not throwing shade on any of those guys. All I'm saying is I watch them and they've been doing this a long time too. And when you have conversation with them, they fail as well. Without a team, I'm doing this all myself. I'm doing the best I can. And I think you should approach it the same way. If you don't have a team and you want to get into this and you want to do it, just do it. Figure out what you like, what you don't like. Figure out where you need help and get the help. Right now, I'm still trying to figure it all out so I can understand what I need for help. A lot of times it's just management. There's no shortage of content here. It's a matter of how do I get it out in the most consistent workflow, creating a system that allows me to be producing and replicating the same thing week after week after week, really falling into that rhythm. And right now that road is a little bit rough because I'm trying to save the photography business from going out of business while also building this up to a point where it will sustain me. And we're in this really scary gray netherworld right now of, I don't know if this is all going to work out, but I have incredible faith that it will. I have no idea what's going to happen in the photography side. Things have been bad all over the place. And since I don't do weddings and I don't do babies and families at golden hour, I don't do elopements, I don't do couples. Can I dive into all of that stuff? Sure. But I don't want to. I don't want to. I've made that conscious choice. I'm doing the portraits that I'm doing. So that's a hard world as well. By developing this side of my business, podcasting, podcast education, getting back into consulting with companies about all of this stuff, live stream production, keynote speaking, gear education, reviews, all of the aspects of the business all comes down to putting in the reps, learning from all of this. Just learning. That's all this is. Just learning, right? And I want to get back to the analytics and show you a couple more things. So I've got, let's go back to the summary. This right here, the last 90 days, these percentages up and down, I've got a 171% uptick in the last 7 days. Why? Because I put a episode out. And so, of course, I'm going to see numbers there. I really don't look at a lot of the daily downloads. I don't look at my percentages up and down when I know that I've gone through a period of turmoil, where I've gone through a period of experimentation. Because I don't live or die by these numbers. They're just road markers, right? They're signposts. What I do like to look at is say, all right, what am I getting as download averages per month or per quarter? So that I can start to estimate out, all right, well, last quarter was pretty awful and I got 700 downloads. Again, we're not talking Joe Rogan numbers here, but I feel really good that 700 times people have downloaded an episode of mine and given it at least a little bit of a listen, enough for it to register as a listen, right? So I look at these numbers and I say, all right, are these going up over time or not? So that's where this chart comes in. Obviously, the more content you're putting out, the more listens you're going to get, the better the graphs are going to look. I don't care about that. I can put out an episode every day and jack these numbers through the roof by volume of fire. If I get 10 downloads a day for 30 days, or I put out one episode a month and get 300 downloads, which is better? There isn't better. Why? Because people are looking at the end number. So if I put out an episode every day and people keep coming back every day because I've built that consistency, those numbers will start to take off faster because it's not a one and done. And there's more chance that what you put out there is going to spread. It's going to resonate with different people. They're going to show up at different times in the algorithm. They are going to download different things that they might have free time differently, right? So all I'm saying is all these graphs and numbers show me is that I'm far too inconsistent still with my process on the audio only side. I'm very happy with what I'm doing so far in the YouTube and video side. I've put out a lot more content, especially in the shorts, right? Just looking at what I've been putting out from, if I look at the 30 days of better podcasting skills, right? When I started putting things out, good views, 176, 468, 130, 120, thereabouts. And then right around day 9, it started to really plummet. 21, 3, 4, 3, right? So that indicates to me something happened. And the only thing that I did differently with all of this is that I started scheduling them. I started using YouTube Scheduler. I started using, the Instagram Meta Scheduler. When I was putting these videos up through day 8, which was, I believe, Monday, I was getting decent views. When I started scheduling and then they were going out at 6 a.m. on YouTube and, 6 or 7 a.m. on Instagram, my numbers have plummeted. Where am I getting good views? When I posted yesterday organically, 180 views versus the 4 views on this other one. Now, I am not an algorithm expert. I don't know anything more than you guys do, but that's a clear indicator that if I wasn't scheduling anything, and then I started scheduling, my views plummeted 100%. This doesn't make any sense. Nothing we see on the internet is real. This is all just a game. No one knows what anybody's doing. Just makes me laugh, right? Because everyone's just like, hey, schedule your stuff. Make it easy on yourself. Schedule it out. Put it out there. Okay, I do that. It's not working. And I haven't changed anything. The content is exactly the same. The only thing that changed is how I decided to start putting it out. Isn't that crazy? So it is what it is. On the live side, I like experimenting as well. So I wanted you to see here this version, which is the horizontal version of the last generator live. And then this is the vertical version, right? Because right now you're watching me on Ecamm, and I'm able to stream in both horizontal and vertical at the same time. And right now there's 7 people watching. I don't know if you're watching horizontal or vertical. So let me know. That'd be great if you just kind of like put an H or a V in the comments here, just so I know. Are you watching the horizontal feed on YouTube, or are you watching the vertical feed on Instagram? That's purely curious. I feel like more people are going to see me because my audience lives more on Instagram than they do on YouTube. But I like doing a landscape feed just because I have more real estate to work with, and I feel like it is more television-like than trying to watch something on a phone. So let's see. I want to see this. So Whitney's coming in horizontal, Carolyn's vertical, Crystal's horizontal. I'm digging this. And then, one thing here, Carolyn is saying, what if you change the time? This is something I'm experimenting with as well, Carolyn. So I'm glad you said that, because what I was trying to do when I was scheduling was put things out at 6 a.m., next day 7 a.m., next day 9 a.m., right? All still within that morning time frame, but not necessarily the exact same time. When I was getting more views, I was publishing things at midnight. So I don't know if that changed things. Maybe it's getting a more European audience, a more international audience. Who knows? But it's been really interesting to watch the view counts, especially on the shorts, go up and down based on when I'm scheduling. So, yesterday I did or I should say Wednesday, I did the live here. That got 46 views on horizontal on YouTube, but I know it got more than that on Instagram vertically. So I'm playing with all of this data so that I can speak more intelligently to you about what growth really looks like when you're a small creator trying to put things out there, so that there's a sense of realism in what it is that you're trying to do, right? I had someone approach me this morning and say, hey, I'm between jobs. I want to dip my toe into podcasting. Can I pick your brain? 100%, no problem. Friend of mine, I'll be more than willing to tell them anything that they want to know. But one thing that I'm absolutely going to say is that this is not an easy road. I look at podcasting, and especially, a channel like this, where I'm trying to be a little bit more open with my process, with everything that's happening, because for those people that are watching, learning about this stuff, it's sometimes very easy to do what I do. Sometimes it's very difficult. And these are the ups and downs that I want to show people. It's not always good. And I'm never going to be someone that puts up just a false face and says, everything is fantastic and everything's great. It's not. You know me too well by this point, right? I tell you all about the business that's not doing well. I tell you about this that's not doing well. But overall, I know long-term, all this work is going to pay off. I know that. 100%. So I'm just continuing to go on and go on and go on. But as I look at these numbers for the podcast, as I look at my audio stuff so far, again, I will say this one more time. I know I'm becoming repetitive, but I need people to hear it. Look at your numbers as guardrails, as indicators as to what's happening with your process. Are you being consistent? Are you not? And be honest with yourself, right? I know I'm not being as consistent as I could be on the audio side, but I've kind of had to let that drop while I build up the video side. Once the video side feels good, it becomes way easier to just convert to audio and then put this stuff up. Quite honestly, I could be putting out way more on the audio side, but I want the audio version of Generator to be the interviews. You can catch me on all these different platforms for videos like this. This doesn't necessarily translate to an audio podcast. But what this will translate to, or perhaps shorter segments that I can put out in reels or shorts, right, And now I'm hitting the platform from a different direction. More people can see the content. It's all experimentation. If I had a team that knew how to do this day in and day out and wanted to help out a small creator, get in touch. I'm happy to give you business. Can't pay for it, but I can give you a whole bunch of really nice pictures. How's that sound? Right? You can't hit the pitches you don't swing at. That's the way I look at it. All right, kids. I've been talking for an hour. You get the gist of this, right? I will happily show anybody any of my numbers anytime they want. I don't hide anything. I don't inflate anything. I don't hide anything. But I do want you to see what it is that I've been doing. I don't think these are big numbers at all. I don't sit behind this and go, look at me with my 9,000 downloads, right? Nikki Klosser in the Portrait System probably gets that per episode at least, right? I don't know. I don't see their numbers. I'm not privy to it, but I know it's a much larger podcast, and that's okay. I'm not competing with them. What I look at is, all right, well, they're consistent. They've got a good back catalog. Are they doing anything else? And I'm not talking specifically about Nikki. This can be any podcast. Are they doing anything else? Are they a team of one? Do they have a team of people that are doing editing and social media management and, coordination and booking and all of that? I don't know because I don't see behind the scenes of anybody else's show but mine. So the only person that I can compare myself to is me. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. And I want you to come along for the ride. The biggest thing, the biggest thing that I would love for you all to do, I would love it. I'm not asking it of you, but I would love it. A little bit of promotion, right? We all promote each other. I'm not saying make it your second job to promote this podcast. That's not what I'm saying. But if you find something cool in any episode in the catalog, or maybe I said something cool here, maybe a couple of days ago, or maybe you saw something on one of my channels, tell someone about it. Hey, have you heard about this? You don't even have to post and tag me. You can. I'm not saying don't. But what I'm saying is talk to other people about your creative friends. It's the only thing that's going to help us. We are so insulated and isolated and thinking that as small business owners, we have to do this ourselves. We can't let anybody see the cracks. We can't let anybody understand what a challenge it is. No, this is a challenge. Some days this sucks. It sucks not having a 401k. It sucks not having good benefits. It sucks not having a retirement plan. It sucks. But this is the life that I've chosen, and I wouldn't want it any other way. And I'm perfectly happy with that. So the best thing you can do is, if you have a friend you believe in their creativity, it doesn't have to be me, it could be anybody on here. You believe in their creativity, they're a hairdresser, they're a bike mechanic, whatever it is, support them. The best thing you can do for small businesses is just tell other people about the small businesses. We talk a good game and then we go to Amazon and we buy stuff on Amazon. We're not supporting the small businesses around us. And you're fooling yourself if you think you are. Unless you're going out and you're talking about other people's small businesses. But let's not fool ourselves, right? We all want cheap stuff. We all want convenience. And sometimes small businesses are neither cheap nor convenient, but they're what keep the fabric of this country going. So support small businesses if you can. All right. I'm going to wrap up here, start wrapping. I'm going to take a look at some of the comments. Lindsay. Oh, man. So the fact that you're bouncing between both horizontal and vertical, Lindsay, says everything I need to know about how your morning's going. And I love it. And I love you for that. And I hope you know that. You're one of my favorites out there. I truly believe that you are singularly unique. And I absolutely love you for that. I think you're an insanely talented person. And I laugh. You make me laugh constantly. You're an amazing person. Let's see. Unquestionable. Hey, Sean, what's happening, man? Love to see videos on how you learned to talk for so long and so articulate, laughing, but very serious. Dude, Adderall, caffeine, neurodivergency, right? there's a chemical cocktail in there that allows me to just spit all the words out. Honestly, dude, the way that I do this is I think about talking to you right there, and then I just say the things to you that I would say to you if I was standing in front of you. That's all this is. When I pause, when I don't know what to say, I'm like, all right, well, what would I say to Ishan if he was sitting there right in front of me? I'd be saying this to every single one of you if we were having coffee in a cafe. I'd be telling you all the same exact stuff. There is no difference between the me you get here and the me that you're going to find somewhere else. I might be less sober than I am, but it's still going to be me. All right. Some of the others. Love it, Matt. Always enjoy your perspective and transparency. You know, I have to believe, Carolyn, thank you. First and foremost, thank you for saying that. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think my transparency has caused me more problems than benefits over the years in regards to an upwards trajectory of success. If I measure success by finance, followers, sponsors, right, whatever. What I have found is that the people that have shown up for years are some of my favorite people on the planet. Not because we've even met in person, but because we believe the same things. And I know that you've got my back and I've got yours. And that's just a really good feeling to know that there are people out there where we do think the same way and we do want the same things and we do struggle with the same stuff all the time. And I love doing this with all of you. It's one of the things that honestly brings me the most joy is to do all of this, show you what's going on, and then let you decide, is that something you want to do? Do you want to keep showing up? Doesn't matter. I just appreciate the fact that you give me some of your time on a Friday morning. You kidding me? Judith is saying, I'm still working on just getting in front of the camera and speaking. Reps. Put in reps. That's all this is. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been doing some sort of podcast, internet radio, radio show, television show, podcast, live streaming since 1999. 26 years. God, it's not even 25 years, but let's build in some gaps there, right? In aggregate, 25 years sounds impressive. I've been doing it for 25 years. If you've been doing it for 4 months, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of discomfort right now as you get used to it. But I'm telling you over and over and over, it's not going to take you 25 years. It'll probably take you another couple of weeks. Show up every day, do 10 minutes, talk into the camera. Honestly, one of the exercises that I do occasionally is kind of like what I did when I started the podcast this morning, because it gets me going. I talked about my week. I talked about spilling coffee all over my studio, right? I talked about all of these basically silly little vignettes from my life because it helps me calm my nerves and just start talking. And then we could get into the topics. Then we can talk about the other stuff. But I give myself limits on either side. And I say, all right, well, I'm only going to talk about this. I might as well just blow this up and make myself a little bit larger. Let's see if that'll do that. There we go. What I do is I give myself some limits and I say, all right, for the next 10 minutes, just do the stream of consciousness thing. Just talk about what's been weighing on your mind. Not only does it help to get that stuff out, but it's content. It helps you calm your nerves, loosen up the mouth, loosen up the vocal cords, and just settle yourself down before you start talking about the meat of whatever the conversation is that you want to have. So if you're just getting started, just keep going. I'm telling you, it gets easier. For someone, I was deaf as a child, ridiculously introverted to the point of isolation, right? Clinically depressed, don't want to see anybody, neurodivergent, right? ADHD. I have all the things that would keep me from doing this, but I'm still showing up anyway. Why? Because I love doing it. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to people. So get out of your head. Just get on camera. All right. And then Crystal is saying, love this. Hope to start a video series and see where it goes. Crystal, all you have to do, if you get stuck at any moment, if you want help, if you want an audience, If you want anything, reach out. I'm half an hour away, right? If you need help, and anybody on this call, doesn't matter if you're local or not, if you need help and you have a couple of questions, I don't mind hey, can I pick your brain for a couple of things? What I mind is like, hey, can I pick your brain every day for an hour for the next 6 weeks? I'm not talking to you, Crystal. All I'm saying, anybody that needs help, I'm always willing to give you whatever it is that I know, or I'll make a video about it. Send me a question. You want to make a video like, how do you connect this to that? How do you get over this mental hump of showing up and talking to the camera? Let me know your questions. I'll address them. I'll make a video and I'll put it out there. Better yet, you could make a video about it and how you solve the problem and what is your intention about moving past that thing. But if anybody has comments or questions about podcasting, about live streaming, about audio production, video production, short form, long form, television, live stream, pre-recorded, let me know. I've done it all and I've screwed it all up more times than I can count. But I'd love to tell you what not to do so you don't screw up more times than you can count. But that's all I'm getting at. Guys, it's 10:30. I got to get to work. I actually have to do something today. So what I'm doing, just so you know, is I'm continuing to push towards WPPI. I'm continuing to push towards releasing the book, building the website, getting the analytics going, doing short form, long form, setting up episodes. I've got an episode with Renee Robin coming up on the 18th, but I really do want a different episode next week. And Paul, who has been here in the chat, Paul is a physical therapist down in Massachusetts. He's coming up for some personal branding photos next week. Maybe I'll do a special episode and bring a client on and we'll talk about all this sort of stuff. We'll see if we have time, but maybe I'll do something like that. I might trap you, Paul. Might trap you at the studio and we'll do a little bit of a podcast. But anyway, this is the end of the Friday morning coffee. I've only gotten through a little bit of the mushroom brew here, but I really dig, man, if I remember the name of it, I'll put it somewhere and let you guys know what it is. But mushroom coffee is great. Guys, I wish you well. I hope you have a phenomenally fun and safe weekend. Whatever you're creating, keep doing the thing. Even if it doesn't feel like it's working right now, it is, because you're building those foundations. All of this is going to pay off. You just got to stay in the fight, keep doing the good thing. And yeah, if you got anything that you need from me, all you have to do is reach out. I'd appreciate it if you checked out generatorpodcast.com. Subscribe if you want, don't subscribe if you don't. But I'd love you to look through it and let me know, hey, Matt, this is all wrong. This is too bad. That's a terrible picture. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. Just check it out. I'd love to know. I like getting the feedback like that. And then just be in tune. Next week is super busy with photo stuff, but I'm still going to show up here for video for you. So maybe I'll do some live streaming from the studio. That's something I've never done, is live streaming of a client shoot from a studio. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put that on the list. All right, kids. Thank you again for showing up. You mean the world to me. I appreciate it. I will talk to you all soon. Until then, later.